Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to Bread Brothers. We're back again. It's been a while, guys, but as you know, the market is crashing, and we thought we'll do a quick video in regards to what we're doing and a quick update. How you been, Sammy?
Yeah, can't complain, but yeah, Marcus definitely brought us down. We didn't expect that coming, so it was quite treacherous out there. I pretty much stopped trading a while ago, so that's helped me
Yeah.
reserve my capital. But yeah, let's talk about with what we're doing on our portfolios. How have you been?
Yeah, no, I've been good. I've been one of those type of people who's been speculative, waiting for it. And I did buy the dip, mind you. I did buy the dip just because for me, the narrative, and I'll tell you guys why I don't think the bull runs over. Let's have a look at the market first, Sammy, so we can actually talk about it. And in this episode, we're going to actually talk about what some moves we're doing and why we're doing them.
All right, so I'll share my screen. Yeah, so let's have a look at the Bitcoin chart. So this is Bitcoin on the daily. I've been tracking it on this falling wedge, so just adjusting trend lines. And I had some key levels, like this was the lower low. So that was my first alarm when we lost that. And when we lost such an important area, you typically see violent moves in the market, and that's what happened. Our next area was that hash ribbon that out of 18 out of 19 times it's flashed, it's never gone below. So I thought this was a pretty strong area of support. We also broke that as well. So we broke below it. And our last area, which hasn't been tested, is that macro low of just around 29K. Pretty much, I've got this locked. Yeah, just around 29K in the mid last year. So what I'm seeing is Bitcoin's in a downtrend. And by downtrend, I mean, it's put in a higher high, but at the moment on the midterm, it has put in a lower low. So next, it's all about where this bounce is going to be. It's either going to be a lower high or a higher high. In my opinion, this whole market is just a big sideways market between pretty much 69,000 to 30,000. It's just been one sideways chop. The action that I'm personally taking is I'm going to reduce my risk and exposure, and I'm going to be selling my altcoins on this bounce up to once I have my initial capital back in my hand. So that's what I'm doing. If we do lose that 30K mark, I would have said I'm selling everything on the bounce down to zero. So at the moment, that hasn't happened. We've just put in a lower low, so it's weakness in the market. So I'll be only looking at selling out my initial capital at this stage just to reduce
So
risk.
you're saying
So what
that
about
if it
you?
runs up to 60,000, you're going to be scaling out, or 40,000? Like, what's your short
So
term?
yeah, how I determine how to scale out will be pretty much pull a fib from this area.
Yep.
So I'll be looking at scaling out pretty much in this area if we get to it. So this is where price typically reverses. But at the same time, I'll be watching what happens at these key points where Bitcoin saw resistance last time. We've got to break that. We've got to break the 50-day moving average. We've got to break this fib level of 382. We've got to break the 0.5. That will be significant as well, because that's where a lot of the dump began as well, at the 0.5 level. So I'm saying I'll be scaling out as we get to these fib levels, because we don't know where the reversal is going to come. Often it comes in this area, but we can't guarantee that, if you know what I mean. So I got to start taking some profits along the way up.
And I think you and I were speaking about this earlier today and yesterday about how, and this is just being brutally honest, guys, I think a lot of people, including ourselves, were quite optimistic and probably greedy in regards to how to deal with these things, to take profits, because the market was too good to be true, right? Everyone was like, yeah, we're going to the moon, and we are in the moon. And we've said in the previous episodes that, people who entered probably in 2020 has made substantial amount of gain. So for those who entered probably halfway through last year, probably didn't make as much as gains as the guys who made in 2020. So we need to put that in perspective, right, Sammy? That
So
perspective. Yeah.
what's your biggest lessons, and what are you going to do differently this time, Evie? Because
If we do bounce,
that's the
or
only
is
way to
this,
survive.
yeah.
Now, going forward, with what you've experienced to date in your experience with crypto, what have you learned, and what are you going to do different going forward?
100%. I need to go with my gut instincts. And I saw the double top coming in. I'm a pattern trader. Like I go heavily based on patterns, because I saw that double top happening and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm like analyzing this incorrectly, but I should have just gone with my gut instincts. One. Two, I'm going to take more profit next time. That's one thing that I've learned, and I've kind of embraced it more from our initial dump in 2020, when that dump happened. I'm
The
like,
COVID dump, yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned it, but I realized that I need to kind of take more profit, Sammy. But one thing that I'm going to put out there, that one thing that I did, that I'm happy that I did it, was when I took profits, I kind of shuffled my portfolio. So an example, when Sana and Man pumped tremendously, I took most of those profits and I moved in profits into certain cryptos, which didn't do anything. And the reason why I did that is, one, if they pop off, I'll get more returns, but also kind of try to balance out my portfolio, because no one's going to sell if it's not really doing anything. You know what I mean? The reverse on that wouldn't be as dramatic as something as Manor and San, and we definitely seen it, right? I think those guys were up like $8 or so, or $10, and now it's reversed down all the way to $4. So I kind of did secure that. So that's something that I've learned, and I'm going to kind of do it more, take more profits, move into coins that haven't. That way, it kind of allows me to be in the game, but also kind of protects my wealth. How about you, Sammy? What is something that you've learned?
The biggest lesson is from trading. We get taught that one of the most important thing is to manage risk with trading, because you need to have your account funded. You need to have your account to keep trading. And if you ride downtrends, you're just going to suffer badly and bleed out. So that's one of the most important thing is risk management is pretty much everything when it comes to trading. And I didn't really apply that to my investment or long-term portfolio. So that was my biggest lesson. And there's two things I'm going to be adopting this time going forward is, number one, if a token gets to like a 2x or reaches like a very macro area of resistance on the weekly chart, and all of the DeFi tokens did this, they pumped up and after the mid-year dump, but other things rallied like Solana, but the DeFi tokens just kept on hitting their head exactly on the weekly charts. It wouldn't close above it. You wouldn't have seen it on the daily chart. On the daily chart, it would have just ranged, but on the weekly, it was clear that it was struggling to break that area. So stuff like that, you have to pay attention to. And that was a clear opportunity to take some money out because DeFi didn't really do anything. So that's the lesson that I learned, Ibby, is to take my initial out if the token 2x's or gets to that really high macro area of resistance, because you need to manage your risk. You need to de-risk, right? If I had done that throughout my crypto experience, my portfolio wouldn't probably have gone up so high. I would have been much comfortable in a much comfortable situation with crypto. Do you know what I mean? Number two, I wouldn't have had such high losses at the moment, if you know what I mean. Number two is focus on that HODL portfolio on the weekly time frame, not the daily. Daily you can zoom in for an entry, but weekly time frame is very valid on a log chart for a lot of these cryptos. A lot of them, I missed out on good opportunities of entries, and good opportunities to pretty much start selling on those weekly time frames. Just holding isn't gonna do it. Just holding in a bull run isn't gonna do it. It's you do need to manage risk.
I think those holding days are kind of over because everyone kind of understands what to do now, Sammy. There's a lot more information. People are smarter. So hodling, yes, is a fantastic way of kind of growing your wealth. And, we've sold things which were way early. Like we sold our Axie Infinity bag way early when it was pumped, right? But
hodling, I think hodling is an aspect that you start with in the bear market. So let's say in the bear market, everything crashed by 80%. Yeah, it could go down another 90%. But if you have picked good quality tokens, right? That's where you should hodl in the bear markets. And that's where you should keep dollar cost averaging and build up more. Not in a bull market. Bull market, you meant to hodl what you had begun with in a bear market.
100%.
But in a bull market, I don't think it's wise to be like buying stuff at different stages of the bull market and hodl, because that hodling begins from the bear market.
Yeah, and that's something that we discussed as well. There's two perspectives. It's very important. Like you've hit the nail on the head there. Hodling is, yes, it's great, but if you buy in the bear market and you hodl all the way to the bull run, and if you've made like 50x or 100x on your money, take those profits. Do you know what I mean? Take those profits.
Yeah.
And then look for the next narrative, because that's something that Sammy and I, we've been chasing the narratives in regards to what's the next upcoming thing. And as most people, if you're watching this video, you've probably been in cryptocurrency for a while. There's always opportunities to buy the coin that you missed out on, understanding why you're buying the coin. So I wouldn't personally go buy things just because my friend told me to buy it and they said, hey, I made 2x. I love when people say I made 2x or 4x. Okay, how much money did you invest? Because you can throw $20 in there, Sammy. All right, 20x, like 2x or 4x is just like, you know what I mean? $40, 60,
crypto's all about making the quickest amount of making the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. So 100%. If you understand that, you'll be okay in the bear market. It's you need to be taking profit.
Definitely. And in saying that as well, that's why it's so important. Like when I'm kind of moving my bags, I move into projects. And I'll give an example. I move into projects that I truly believe in and have a narrative behind it. Like recently, I moved my Matic bag into Loopring. And I bought Matic because it's just phenomenal. Like it helps Ethereum grow, not grow, but make it quicker, the transactions. It's in a lot of projects, it's linked to everything. But then I question myself, I'm like, okay, Ibi, we've done a lot. We've gained. We bought this thing at 20 cents and it's ran up a lot. But what can we do? What can we maximize this on? And, I know the ZK rollup narrative, and we've discussed this before. And I'm like, you know what? So is Loopring. Loopering's in the same category.
One of the things I like about it, when we have a market flash out like this, it kind of sometimes resets the narrative as well. So when we do get that next leg higher, you'll see some new narratives start up, and that's the opportunity to ride the wave there. In terms of narrative, the moves that I've made recently is I've completely sold out all of my sand position.
Yep.
I won't make the same mistake with ADA. It's pretty much when I look at the sand chart on the weekly, you just look at it and it looks like it's in euphoria. It's very high. I've done very well with sand as well. So for me, that's enough. Take those profits out. I've taken out my initial, and on the little bounces that we had, I've cleared everything out. It's very overextended on the weekly as well. So for me, it could go higher, but there are other things that are dirt cheap as well that are great projects, which I'm keeping an eye on to move into. So sand, I've thought the time's done. I missed my opportunity to do the same with Axie. I missed my opportunity to do the same with Mana. So now I'm looking at taking profits out of those two coins at a much lower discount, which is pretty ugly to think about, but I'm still up and I need to protect my portfolio. So what I'm looking at the moment is Phantom. And the reason why is Virtual Baking gave me this idea is in mid 2021, certain coins started outperforming Bitcoin while Bitcoin was still having its little dump around 30K. That was like Axie, Solana, Luna. And when Bitcoin finally reversed, it was these coins that were already outperforming Bitcoin that had the most pump in that period where Bitcoin then went up. Axie, Luna, Solana, they all like 10x back in that era. So what Virtual Bacon said is he identified like Phantom, Near, Rose. There's a certain amount of coins that are outperforming Bitcoin since around Christmas time. So they're the ones I've been watching. And one that I've been watching a lot is Phantom. And I've been keeping track of it on Twitter. And what I like about Phantom is recently it did way more, I think, transactions than Ethereum, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's proven that it can handle it. The total value locked off Phantom is quite high in comparison to its market cap. So it's pretty interesting there. They've got partnership with Aave as well. And it's a project backed by Andre Kroniak. So he somewhat always delivers. Last week they had an airdrop, so that influenced the price a little bit. So at the moment, Phantom does look overextended, but this is a very short trade opportunity that I'm looking into, and I've got my invalidation for that. But that's where I've moved at the moment. The rest of my capital, I'm pretty much 50% back to my initial capital. So I need to look at taking another 50% out on this bounce. However, low ball bids, I've got 50% of that cash to pretty much put in for any low ball bids in the market to get some quick turnarounds. So they're my moves at the moment, Ivy. And
awesome.
And can I show you something quickly on the Bitcoin dominance chart?
No, please do, because I'll tell you a couple of moves that I did and why I did them. They're probably the more risky side of moves, but if it pays out pretty well.
All right, so have a look at this Bitcoin dominance chart right here. This is my yellow trend line that I've shown on the show a number of times, and you can see these white lines, weekly, by the way. These white lines are key areas of support and resistance. So this yellow trend line has been tested before a number of times. This is why alts have shut the bed pretty much. It's because Bitcoin dominance has been pumping while Bitcoin has been in the red. So if we do break this yellow line, EB, that's going to be our first warning shot. If this top line gets broken, EB, that's going to be the second warning shot. If this top line gets broken, it's pretty much a trend reversal. Look at this. Ever since the middle of last year, Bitcoin dominance has been going up and down within this range pretty much, and it's been tightening because of this yellow trend line. So first, it needs to break the yellow trend line. Second, maybe it's going to keep on ranging in this channel, I don't know. But second, it needs to break this trend line at the top at 47% or the one at the bottom at 39%. So what I'm saying is these are going to be the biggest warning shots ever to the market, and you have to pay attention to major reversals out of Bitcoin dominance.
So Sammy, let me just interrupt you there. When you say, just to open the floor up a bit, when you say warning shots, can you just explain to the audience, what do you mean by warning shots there? You're talking about the
warning shots, meaning it's going to be a drastic change to the market and you have to respond accordingly. So if we do break this trend line, that's an indication that, hey, we've broken out of this formation, whatever this is, like a bear flag or whatever it was. We've broken up higher, right? So we could be going up higher. The second warning shot will be if we break this white line, right? At this bold line. If we break this, then we're pretty much outside of this range that we've been ranging in for, since last year sometime. And Bitcoin dominance sets to be going up higher. It's not going to go high up in a straight line like this went down in a straight line, but we could be going, waving higher and higher and higher. All this means is altcoins will bleed out. A lot of altcoins will bleed out. So when I say warning shot, it means I'm going to be making decisions, like big decisions for my long-term portfolio. And if we do break this level up here, I'll probably be scaling out of a lot of my altcoins. I won't be holding much, I'll tell you that.
So wouldn't it be better to hold Bitcoin if the dominance is increasing? That means there's more accumulation of Bitcoin there. So isn't it better to buy
Bitcoin is safer to hold?
Yeah.
It just means Bitcoin is safer to hold in this moment, but that doesn't mean Bitcoin is not going to go down. Bitcoin dominance could go up and Bitcoin can go down at the same time. Like the price of Bitcoin can go down while this is going up.
Well,
so all I'm saying is it's not worth holding altcoins if this is going to trend higher, whether it's like this, but if it starts reversing trend completely, then it's quite dangerous. So all eyes are on this area first. We have to break that yellow trend line. On the flip side, if we break this bottom white line here at 39%, we're looking at face melting gains for altcoins. So I will make sure I have, if it drops below this area of 39%, we're looking at face melting altcoin season, where you'll want to have some exposure to altcoins.
You know what, Sammy? This is it's very difficult, for us, for the viewers, for everyone in general in the market. Everyone's saying, what do I do? What's our next move and what are we doing? And that's the thing, guys. There's no right or wrong answer in regards to what to do. It's just to see how comfortable you are. As Sammy highlighted before, it's the risk to reward ratio. I wouldn't be taking on what influencers, big YouTube influencers out there, and blaming them, saying, hey, you told me to do this and you told me to do that. No, they didn't tell you to do that, and we're not telling you what to do. This is not financial advice, guys. This is just two guys sitting and having a chat. At the end of the day, it is your decision, and I'm going to tell you what I did. And Sammy said he's pulling out a lot of his profits out on this bounce.
Initial capital.
The initial capital.
Initial capital out.
Me personally, I've kind of I've put some capital aside, but most of my investment is probably back in the market. I truly believe that, if it does work out, it'll pay me out pretty well. So I'm taking that risk, guys. Nobody's telling me to do it. Sammy and I, we talk on a daily basis about, what's the best move to do and so on. So we've already discussed what would happen if we break above the 40,000, that line there, the bull market be potentially continuing on. If we break below down the 30,000, then the bear market can potentially happen. It can probably go down to 25K, guys. It can go all the way. We keep using the 30,000 as a support level, but if it goes down to 25,000, it may reverse down there too. But I'm expecting this bull run, and if we do continue the bull run, to extend towards all the way at the end there. Like I'm waiting for another 6 months, Sammy. Do you know what I mean? Like that's where
Yeah.
I'm a bit skeptical. That's why I'm playing a bit safe, but I am risking it as well. I went into smaller projects back again. Like you, I sold my Santa and Man at the top, Sand and Manor at the top. And now, because it's like kind of really low, Sammy, I said that I rather tip my toes into Sand and Manor again. And the reason why I did Sand and Manor is I believe in the metaverses and I believe in gaming. It's going to be pretty big. So I bought a couple of those. I bought Feeder. I bought Feeder because I believe in Feeder because it's a decentralized YouTube channel. Well, it's like a, not authorized or controlled by certain entities. So that's why I bought into Feeder. What else did I buy? I bought EOS. EOS is just, it's one of those in the bull market. It did phenomenal. It's
really low EOS at the moment.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of having exposure into little small projects like this, and I said even like with Loopring, I bought Loopring as well. So those are a couple of coins that I rebought myself. I've got my other bags, hodl bags still happening, but these are coins that I wanted. I had these coins earlier, initially when the bull run started, and it did phenomenal. And I moved those bags into other projects, and I rode the wave up. If I held on to my original, when I had EOS and Feeder and Loopring, I would have done quite well, but you just don't know, guys. You know what I mean? You just didn't need to do what's right for you. So those are my buyers, Sammy. And as you said, it's probably a risky move at the moment, but I'm willing to risk it. Yeah, I'm willing to risk it.
I'll be honest, when you said in that comment before, when people say, I don't know what to do, I'll be brutally honest. If you're going to have to say, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
chances are you're not going to make it. And that's not me talking harsh. That's the numbers. That's the statistics.
Yeah.
If you enter this market without a plan, without a trading plan, without an investment plan, without proper risk management, because trading or investing isn't just buy, sell. It's what's your risk to reward? What's your invalidation? What's your knowledge? How much time do you have? All of these kind of things. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to make it.
100%.
Simple as that. So
100%.
So if you're sitting there saying, what should I do? My advice is educate yourself and come up with a plan, even if it means starting from zero, just nuking your portfolio and start again with proper attention and planning. That's probably going to help you, and you're not going to like hearing that, but hey, what do you want to do? Sit here this time next year saying, what should I do?
and that's amazing. You're right. And we say this in our Discord group. We've got our own small Discord group. There's probably about 70 to 80 of us. And we're kind of brutally honest there, saying that, guys, you should always have an entry and exit plan. And if you don't have this when you're entering the market and you're relying on your friend, that's probably not a smart move, guys. You should be treating this as a business. You should be treating this as something, dedicate yourself to it. Like, you go to the gym, train, you go to work, you're working 9 to 5 or how many hours you're working. Crypto's like that too. The more time and effort you spend in it, the more knowledge you're going to have and the better decisions that you're going to make. And even if your decisions are invalidated, you have a reason why to move out of it and what to move in. Because if you don't know what to move into, I think that's the difficult bit, Sammy. There's the emotional attachment, right? When you're seeing your portfolio take a dive, there is that massive emotional aspect. I've been like, even with me personally, even this bear market, I was kind of taken back. I'm like, wow, I didn't see that happening. But I did take some bit of, I kind of managed my risk. Yeah.
We got 2 minutes. If I bring up some interesting tweets, let's go through some prominent tweets. I just want to realize Alex Becker, interesting comments here. So at the moment, we didn't touch on this before, but basically the entire market, Bitcoin is really following the NASDAQ, which is a tech heavy index in America. So whether that goes up and down, Bitcoin goes up and down. And at the moment, investors are quite shocked at the moment because they're panicking because of what the Fed might say in terms of increasing interest rates. So that's just the background there. And I really like this tweet by Alex Becker. So he's saying rate hikes, they kick them down till after the midterm election in the US for political reasons. Very interesting. I'm not going to go into that debate, but yeah, that's possible. And then we get a massive blow off top cycle starts. Like we now start our blow off top cycle, right? So Fed, they delay interest rate hiking until after the midterms for political reasons. This then leads us down to a path of blow off top cycles. You keeping up with me, Ibby?
Yep, 100%.
Then the bill on all of this shit comes down and the entire bubble implodes into a bigger disaster than 2008. Don't keep your dick in your pencil sharpener too long. So interesting tweet. All eyes on the Fed. They're meeting today and we're going to find out tomorrow, I think tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning, what their decision is with interest rates. TED Talks Macro, Aussie guy. So this is really interesting. So he's looked at the data and he's saying that there's protective shorts look to be dominating Bitcoin in the open interest markets, right ahead of the FOMC meeting. That's the meeting that I'm talking about with the Federal Reserve. It's the Federal Open Market Committee, I think. So yeah, there could be a potential short squeeze after the Fed's message. So the shorts are there. They could be squeezed like boom as soon as the market happens. So just be prepared. I wouldn't trade it. I'll just sit back and watch the waves and whatever. But there could be a lot of volatility. I wouldn't be jumping in and out. That's irrational. From Glassnode, this is really interesting. Short-term hodlers are currently hodling historically large unrealized losses. So these are the short terms. These are the people that recently came into the market, maybe in the last 12 months. So they're currently sitting at large unrealized losses. And you can see by this band, whenever they get to this certain threshold, Bitcoin does seem to bounce. So that's interesting. We could see a reversal come in soon. So it's basically saying the short-term holder, NUPL metric, net unrealized profit and loss metric, tracks aggregate unrealized losses held by a short-term holder cohort in proportion to the market cap. So at the moment, all he's saying is it's about negative 40%, and it's about in par with some deep retraces that we've had in the past. So we could be due for a bounce. Interesting. This is another interesting one by the Rational Root. Truly impressive how the ever-growing HODL army managed to make a second top while the hype was gone. So here comes a HODL army stacking sats. You could tell. So
that was us. That was literally us.
These are long-term holders, right? Dollar cost averages buying the dip. These are long-term holders that do not sell. They manage, what Root is saying is they managed to get the price up to all-time high. So here's the kicker. It's illiquid supply, right? Illiquid supply means it's not moving out of the market. It's not moving, right? You can't touch it because these people got diamond hands. The more of these illiquid supply gets, the more diamond hand holders come, naturally the price does go up. So what he's trying to say is as illiquid supply keeps growing, meaning the amount that you cannot touch, it's not if, but when we get an inflection point. And, that inflection point is going to be bang,
a massive spike.
Boom. Yeah, so it's very interesting. The hodlers are saving Bitcoin. So who knew? Another reason why on Phantom, I mentioned it before, Phantom coming into Phantom and Aave partnering up, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And last but not least, so this is the number 3 whale, I think, out there, basically saying stop selling your Bitcoin to this guy. He's been buying $2 to $18 million worth of Bitcoin every few hours. Just look at that, just pumping it. I've been tracking
That's insane.
I've been tracking the number 3 whale for such a while, and the guy just keeps on buying a little bit every now and then. I think this Bitcoin address has now surpassed my favorite number 3 whale now, because this whale has been buying every few hours, ridiculous amount. So this is not an individual. This is an organization, institution, or something, or a nation. It could be your uncles in Turkey. You're the president.
I hope so. I hope so. But I doubt it. But look, it's interesting, talking about the stock market, how it's correlated, even though we try to, debunk from the traditional markets, Sammy, we're still affiliated with them. Whatever happens, like if there's a 20%, pullback in the stock market, we have literally seen twice, in the short period of time that we've been recording, that if there's a 20% pullback on the stock market, that affects crypto by 40 to 60%.
Absolutely. You have to understand how money works and how assets work. And Bitcoin and crypto is still viewed as a risk-on asset. Number 2, everyone in 2018 was saying, oh, we want institutions. Oh, we want institution adoption. Well, that's happened. What do you get? You get nothing but manipulation. So 100%. you just gotta navigate this, right? The HODL mentality does not work. The HODL mentality, we'll talk about it if we're at the bottom of the bear market. But at the moment, the HODL does not work.
No, guys, I think you need to play the narratives. You know, we've talked about this. One other thing I'm going to throw in there, and that's it, Sammy. I promise that's it. Is the other thing you've mentioned a number of times, you've highlighted this, and I do follow this, is the US pegged or tether. I look at the charts on that. So for me, if the US dollar starts increasing, that means a lot of people are selling, guys. That's another signal. A lot of people are selling. That means it's time to kind of get out. Yeah, that's something that I'm kind of watching as well. I follow the stock market. I follow the US dollar, because if the US dollar is not doing anything, or it's kind of going down or unstable, we're pretty safe. But if there's a spike, that means the guys in the stocks, the guys in crypto, everyone is selling. So just keep an eye out for that. Just keep an eye out for that, guys. I have nothing more to say, Sammy. How about yourself? Just a quick summary.
That's it. That's it.
Awesome.
I don't know what else to say.
No, fantastic. Guys, we will be back next week, or we'll do in a couple of days' time. I hope you're finding these videos useful, because at the end of the day, we're going to kind of change it up. We're going to kind of go through the social media aspects, who's saying what. We're going to start telling you the couple of moves that we're doing, because we realize that, yes, we're talking about charts, but we're actually not discussing what we're doing, what our moves are doing. And, you know, yeah, sorry, go on.
You're going to get, there's so much YouTube channels out there that are showing charts and stuff like that. And we decided it's going to be more engaging if we actually talk about what we're doing and what we think and navigate, because that's what our channel's about. That's what the Bread Brothers are about. It's about us, our journey, navigating through this space.
100%. I think, yeah, so we're going more streamlined, and we're going to highlight certain Twitter, social media pages out there. We'll have a discussion about them, whether we agree with them or we don't agree with them. Do you know what I mean? I think it's great. It's great that, Sammy, you've showed us a couple of tweets out there. You know, they're great guys, follow them. But at the end of the day, none of this is financial advice, guys. This is just two guys having a chat. We are the Bread Brothers. We're here every week. So we hope to see you next time. Give us a like, give us a comment. Have a great day or night. See ya. Bye.